Our D-line's getting up there in age. Ndamukong Suh, old, very old. JPP also getting up there in age. We have Vita Vea, but he's really like the only centerpiece of that D-line. So drafting a defensive lineman at 32 would be fine with me. But to be honest, with a 32...
Episode of E on the Mic, episode 26. I am your host, E, aka Ethan, and I'm with a special guest today, all the way from Hawaii. He calls himself a Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're gonna see about that. Judah, what's going on, man?
What's up, E? How's it going?
Hey, doing good. Nothing but a nice Sunday in South Florida, sunny day. No raining, no April showers ruining the day. Usually right about right now, you probably hear thunderstorms down here in South Florida. That's the only thing you hear about Florida. It's bipolar. It could go sunny and then it could be raining like in the next 10 seconds. So it's kind of odd. But I know in Hawaii is a beautiful place there. I want to visit there for a vacation. How's it over there in Hawaii with COVID and all that?
Pretty sunny. I mean, COVID's all right. Still like all the whole masks and social distancing and everything, but you know, slowly making our way back to normalcy as everyone else.
Quoting normal, whatever normal is at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, over a year now, like, it's pretty much become normal to try and stay away from people, wear masks, you know. The whole
Listen, like, people that were antisocial doesn't have to worry about that. It's like, I'm already off of that. So they're already cool with that. But nah, man, so I heard you're a Tampa Bay fan. I want to throw this question out there real quick before I really get into the topics of Tampa, and then we're going to talk about Oklahoma, how they're going to go. So who was the starting quarterback in the Super Bowl, their first Super Bowl Tampa Bay won?
Oh, you were killing me, man.
Come on now. We were talking about Jameis Winston before we came on recording, but I got to throw that out there. If you're really...
I'm going to have to 100% say with total honesty that I'm not 100% sure who won that because, well, if we're being completely honest, the defense really carried that team throughout that whole series. Playoff run. Not to be really.
Let me put it this way. Who was the head coach at that time?
I believe it was John Gruden.
Correct. All right. Congratulations. You want to guess again on who's the quarterback that started for the Buccaneers?
I remember it was like some sort of Justin or Josh something, but it's not something that really sticks out in my mind as, oh yeah, I'm glad this quarterback was on the team so he could win. It was sort of, he was serviceable enough so that we weren't terrible on offense.
Okay, I'll give it to you. It's Brad Johnson. You were actually getting closer to her. You were saying Josh, and then I was like, yeah, he's getting somewhere closer to it. But yeah, but he's not the greatest quarterback out there, so.
It was really that defense is studded, absolutely studded.
Of course, 2 pick sixes near the end of the game of 0-3 against John Gruden's old team, the Raiders. So it was kind of like an even matchup for John Gruden, especially they know how the Raiders run and the Bucs. But after that question that you had to think about, you didn't think I was gonna ask that question, did you?
I had a feeling you were going to bring up the Super Bowl and something about it. I didn't know if I was going to get a quarterback question or if you disrespect me enough to say, oh, who was the starting corner? Who was, you know?
Oh, no, I'm not that cruel. Come on now. Put something that at least a true Tampa Bay fan would know that one. But, hey, I mean, you did ride with Jameis Winston. You did ride with a 30 for 30, man. So it's all good. I mean, you did say about that, a 30 for 30, man.
I would like to say in my defense, though, that Super Bowl was in 2002, and I was born in 2001. So I technically was not...
Welcome to the club. I was born in 01, too. Welcome to the club. Hey, listen, like I still talk about my 72 Dolphins, and I wasn't even born at that time ever. So
that's fair.
Hey, it's fair. So it's all good. But let's dive into the Buccaneers. So the Buccaneers, after a victorious win over the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, getting everyone back really in free agency, which it was a shocker. I don't think Antonio Brown hasn't re-signed with you guys yet, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm pretty sure everyone came back, including the running backs as well, including an ad of Giovanni Bernard as well. That was gonna be a nice ad for you guys there. But here's the question that a lot of people. So you guys have a lot of depth. You guys have the same team. Who you guys are really interested in the draft at your spot at number 32? Do you think you should go for more defense and build on the D ends for the future, or should you guys build up something in the offense? Maybe get a quarterback, maybe late in the draft. Build since Tom Brady is going to be there maybe for another year or two, or do you wait? I want to hear your thoughts.
I mean, as far as I know, as with the way things are looking, it feels as though Tom Brady, this is going to be more or less his last guaranteed season with us. Sure, he might re-sign, or he might sign somewhere else, or he might retire, but this is like, there's no guarantee that he's going to re-sign with us. So there's no guarantee we're going to have that back. So building towards like that, I would say that really focusing on defense would be really key to make his job a lot easier to win this season. And man, I don't know where people are talking about our secondary, but I would love it if someone dropped. You know, if Asante dropped, if Caleb Farley dropped, if any of those guys dropped to us, that's an immediate take. Instantly. Maybe even if they drop a little bit, you just trade up and get them. They're that good, and our secondary needs that much help. I don't know. I've seen people call Carlton Davis a number one corner. He's not a number one corner. I don't think he's that good. Sean Murphy-Bunting holds on every single play that I see, and the refs just never call it. I don't know what's going on there. I think our secondary just really needs a lot of help. But on that note, our D-line's getting up there in age. Ndamukong Suh, is very old. JPP also getting up there in age. We have Vita Vea, but he's really like the only centerpiece of that D-line. So drafting a defensive lineman at 32 would be fine with me. But to be honest, with a 32nd overall pick, if any player just sort of like slides down the rankings a little bit and we have them rated high, I'm okay with us taking them, regardless of who it is.
Okay. This is a player I like for you guys for Tampa. I think Jayson Oweh from Penn State at defensive end. I think he could be he's a sophomore out of Penn State, but he's going into the draft. I think he would be a good fit, especially since that, like you were mentioning on the line is aging. Sue's aging. Paul is aging as well, especially after exploding his fingers. But at the same time, you gotta build that young core on the DN because they ain't gonna get younger. So you gotta build that up, and like you said, to help Tom Brady with the defense, getting the turnovers and then helping winning games to repeat once again for Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which I think that's really their main key. I know I like the point you mentioned about the corners, although I do like the corners how they are now, especially how they really build up in the playoffs against Green Bay and against the Chiefs, especially not shutting down Patrick Mahomes in that Super Bowl really shows who that corners were. I mean, you got to look about it. I understand Patrick Mahomes didn't have no O-line and all that, but Patrick Mahomes was still throwing it out there and so somehow trying to connect to those wide receivers and to Travis Kelce at the same time. So
there were those two insane back-to-back plays of just him borderline parallel with the ground, just throwing it deep and just on target in the receiver's hands, and they just drop it.
I was like, how the hell is this man? And if they catch that would be the most crazy. ESPN will be talking about it, even though they lost that game, they will still talk about that, no question about it.
I think the diving one where he was parallel with the ground still made top 100 plays of the year.
That's still gonna make it, even though it wasn't completed. Somehow thrown. Patrick Mahomes is definitely special, but going back to Tampa though, yeah, I think for me that would be a good option. But like you said, if there's a better player out there, the best player availability, I think you guys will get him. I think last year with Tristan Wirfs was a great selection, which I remember seeing that man coming out of the pool, like, damn. He only let out one sack for you guys. One sack. It was Khalil Mack, and that's when he was thrown to the ground. That was it. But that was a great selection for you guys. But near the end, I think the defensive end is definitely going to be key for you guys just to build in the ends moving forward, especially since you have a coordinator named Todd Bowles that literally shut down Mahomes. Just to throwing that out there as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But
I think the pick is huge, especially because the amount of speed that he brings to the table really helps with the horizontal style of play that we've been running with Levante David and Devin White, and him getting out there to the edge would be just really nice to help force the middle.
Of course, for certain. let's get to your OKC, man. We're going 20-36 on the record. Now, I'm wearing a light blue. It's not OKC. You would think this is Oklahoma, but it's actually Heat, which are also struggling. We'll get to that. But Oklahoma City, a down year, 20-36, but they have some promising players like Lou Dort the other day against the Jazz, 42 points going, although they did lose to Donovan Mitchell and the Jazz, which Jazz are a tough team to beat, especially if you're going against them at their house. But I think Oklahoma has a future there. Just depends on who they select in the future. But what do you see Oklahoma doing? Who they're going to keep after this season? Who should they get in the draft once the draft starts coming up soon?
I mean, right from the start of the season, it seemed like Mark Daigneault was almost just sort of experimenting. He, coming from the G League, he wants to give everybody that chance to prove what they can do and show that they belong on the team. So we saw a lot of guys getting playing time. We saw Isaiah Roby makes himself asserted into the lineup after Al Horford missed a little time, and now he's one of the forefront members of our team. Kenrich Williams, same thing, got some playing time and then proved himself to be worthy, and now he's here. I think that as far as main players moving forward, though, there aren't too many that I think are going to be really on the roster and that are going to be main key pieces. The three that immediately come to mind are Shea, obviously. I don't think that's even a question at this point. Lou Dort, and Moses Brown. Obviously, we have Darius Bazley coming back, but that's a no-brainer. He's definitely going to be staying with us for the next few seasons, at least, on his rookie contract, and then from there, we'll see what happens. But the ones that show the most promise are definitely Moses Brown, Lou Dort, and Shea, above and beyond.
That's what I really feel are going to be like the main players that are going to stay with Oklahoma for the future, and especially since they do have a lot of draft capital, especially from the trades. I know that because the Heat traded to you guys at one point in time. Remember that trade? That was too much. The Heat, I swear, the Heat don't have any draft capital anymore. I swear. But OKC can really build with those players and see how they can get in the draft and then see how they can combine to get to a playoffs finally. I know they went last year. I don't think nobody thought OKC was going to go to the playoffs, especially with Chris Paul. Well, Chris Paul is still a good player. He's not with the Phoenix Suns. But OKC this season is not a great one, but at least they play against Toronto later on tonight as well. So they could finally get their win that they're hoping for, because especially Toronto is struggling at the same time. So it's going to be either or for you guys as well.
Yeah. I think on that point of Chris Paul, is that people didn't think we were making it because we had Chris Paul. And if I'm being completely honest, I think that people really just slept on Chris Paul throughout that season and even like a little bit of this season in the beginning, early stages. And it's really because he took that backseat to James Harden in Houston. But if he doesn't get injured, they might win that Warriors series, and we might have seen the finals appearance out of them. We never know. But he went down with injury. They were dominating the Warriors in the first two games, and then they just slipped away.
I remember that series. If Chris Paul hadn't gone down, he probably, like you said, would have won the series and would have stopped the Warriors dynasty a little bit during that time.
Oh, yeah.
But I think Chris Paul is going to be doing pretty good with the Suns right now, especially with a great record. Although they did lose to the Spurs yesterday horrendously. It was a horrible game, but you're going to have one of those games in the regular season. Now, if you do that in the postseason, different story. But I don't think OKC is going to be sniffing any time for the postseason anytime sooner. Maybe next season, but this season, that's not looking good as of right now. Especially if you're in the Western Conference, it's even tougher than the Eastern Conference right now, especially. Just diving into the Eastern Conference now, to my Heat, what Jimmy Butler is calling all the players that were playing soft, not rebounding a lot, which is very true. The Heat get out-rebounded so much this season. Like, when you look at the previous games that we have lost, or even before that, even when we're winning, we get out-rebounded, like 4 rebounds, we get out 10 rebounds. We don't get our offensively, especially when you have a player named Bam Adebayo, who last time I checked, blocked Jason Tatum's block in the playoffs last time I checked, which should be a big man. And of course, we're going to have Jimmy Butler out today against the Nets as I'm recording this. But the team needs to step up its game. They need to rebound much better, because that's the problem all season long that he have. They do turnovers a lot, and rebounding is the main key, because if you don't get rebounds, you don't get those second opportunity rebounds, you may lose games like that. And it's tough. And it's tough because right now the Heat looks like a great team, and then all of a sudden we go to 500, and then we go under 500. And when it's like, so what are you guys? Are you guys a great team? Or are you guys a phony? Like, I don't understand it. I really don't understand the Heat struggles. Like, the turnovers, like I mentioned, the rebounds. We have good shooters. I know we missed Jay Crowder and all, and I know we added Victor Oladipo, which he's injured now. I understand that he did have to miss those 4 games, but I just feel there's no excuse. I think Banabai needs to step up, and then of course the backup centers we have. We don't play Achua as much. We used to in the beginning of the season, but then after that we only play him like 7 minutes, 8 minutes. Not a lot of play time. So I want to hear your side of this one, since I did my little rant on my team is, but I want to hear your rant on the Heat right now at 500 right now.
I mean, there's a few things that are really just like sticking out to me. The first and foremost is that I think that Jimmy Butler calling him soft isn't really like him it's not a Timberwolves situation.
No,
right?
It's not.
It's not him saying, I don't want to be here. These guys don't want to win. It's him saying, you guys just made the finals last year, right? You guys took a game off the Heat, I think, or not the Heat, off the Lakers, right? I think you
took 2 games off the Lakers. It was a game to Game 6.
Exactly. So you took 2 games off LeBron, AD, and the Lakers in the NBA Finals, right? Jimmy Butler's hype. You guys just lose Jay Crowder, keep most of the same pieces together, keep Bam, keep Dragic, and he's hungry for more. He wants to get better. He wants to compete for that championship again. He doesn't see why can't you guys beat the Nets, right? You guys have the defense to do it. You guys have the composure and the team play to do it. I think that the main difficulty for him is that he doesn't see that same hunger in everyone else, right? He doesn't see that same everyone else wanting it as much as he does. And that's the biggest problem for him because he's such an emotional player and because he started from such a low point and he's come so far with so little that he doesn't see the same people hungry to get better and to do more that he does, right? Because it's not that Bam or Dragic or any of the players on the Heat are playing poorly, especially poorly at least, or that they've regressed. It's just that he's expected to see over the offseason for them to get better and better and better and to compete more, right? Especially with Bam being a young, up-and-coming top 5 center in the league, if I'm being completely honest. He expects to see a lot more out of him. He wants him to see that next leap to the next level, right? He wants to see him add something to his game. But he doesn't see that yet as much as he does, which is the biggest problem for him. I think that's why he's saying that they're weak and not playing defense and all this stuff, because he wants to see everyone to start sort of say, that's right, we were just in the finals last year. Why aren't we pushing ourselves? Why aren't we trying to be that again? Right? And then, especially on the precious point, Achua, I'm still a big believer in him as a player. I just think that as far as your guys' rotations go, it's difficult for him to find time with Bam taking the floor. But him and Bam are very similar in their energy. And so once he starts getting his skill and talent and athleticism up to the NBA level, hits the weight room a little more, I think that he'll find a nice little spot on the bench rotation.
Yeah, man. I just feel like there's some players that are, they're like, for example, Duncan Robinson, he gets on fire at some points and then a few games he's off. And then same thing with Tyler Hero. It's like, where's that fire when like in the playoffs last season, you saw how the fire they were, Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero going off in the playoff series. I remember hearing Tyler Hero being the youngest player of shooting this many threes. And it's like, where is this now in the regular season? Now we're right back to 500 once more. And we're back in the same scenario as we were back and forth throughout the season. We go up a few games, but like maybe 5 games up, and then we go right back down to less than 2 games under 500. So it's going to be tough, especially since the East, the only 3 teams that are going to be the toughest for the Heat, I believe, is going to be the 76ers, the Nets, and possibly Boston. I don't see the Bucs too much. The reason why I don't say the Bucs, because every year everyone says the Bucs are going to be the greatest team. Giannis is the greatest regular season player. But come postseason, they stop Giannis, and then there goes the team. So I don't believe in the Bucs as much as the past 2 years now. It's like the same old carousel. They're saying the Bucs are going to make it to the finals. They have not made it to the finals. They only made it to one time in the Eastern Conference Finals, but you all know what happened with Kawhi Leonard and all that. So that posterized. So
yeah, I think that that's a pretty fair assessment. I think that definitely the Sixers are really being disrespected as far as the Nets go. I know that, they won, albeit without KD for the Nets, but defensive versatility of Ben Simmons really is what really makes me think that the Sixers have a real chance of beating the Nets, just because you can put them on KD, Kyrie, or Harden, and just that's almost okay. We have that taken care of as much as it can be. Now let's just focus on the rest of the team. And I think that because they're a defensive-oriented team and they work a lot in the fast break, especially because their half-court offense is slightly questionable with Ben Simmons on the court, it really might be beneficial for them if they get a matchup against the Nets. And especially you guys as well, because of that defensive pressure that's going to put on your stars. If Oladipo or Jimmy Butler gets injured, Ben Simmons is going to be on that other guy, and it's just going to be hounded all game.
And we're gonna get swept. Let's put it that way. If that happens, if both of those two guys are out, it's a done wrap. Unless somehow, some way, we pull off a magical run. But I don't know. I don't see Miami going that far either at the same time. So being realistically how we are up and down, it's like maybe the second round, but that's about it. To be honest, for my team, at least.
I would say that second round is probably a pretty good spot for you guys. It would be, the first round matchup would be difficult, I think. But
second round is probably not going to be prettier than that.
It'd be a tough run regardless. Yeah,
that's what I feel. But Judah, man, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. On E on the mic. If you have, I know you're starting a podcast page or you're starting a sports page. What are you doing now?
I'm starting up a little bit of something. I'm not gonna do a podcast just yet. I'm gonna sort of start by just slowly posting small little pictures, images on Instagram, and then starting posting short little voiceovers of just NBA analysis and my opinion on games. And especially going to be looking forward to that draft coming up in 12 days. Coming up in 12 days. Hoping we take... I'm honestly really hoping that in later rounds we do end up taking quarterback, because any quarterback that has a little tutelage of Tom Brady I will take. But yeah, I'm just slowly starting. Don't know where it's going to be headed for right now. Just sort of experimenting and seeing what works and what doesn't. So,
of course, man. That's always everything when you first start something. Always trial and error, for certain, man. But thank you guys for listening to E on the Mic, episode 26. I'm your host E, and I'll see you the next episode. Till then, see you then.